as it relates to the manufacturing of equipment. There's one company, if you haven't heard of them, called Stryker. Stryker is a company that makes hundreds of different types of healthcare machines, and they're working on IoT enabling every single one of them so that the data is closer to the end user. The data can be analyzed and prevent any sort of issues with their hardware before the problem actually happens, because there are life-threatening situations that they are in typically. So it's amazing to see that they use the power of their network of equipment and the power of IoT to really unlock opportunity and save people's lives as it relates to the healthcare system as a whole. So that's kind of where we're seeing a lot of it. I highly encourage you to there's a video up there. I won't play it here, but if you got a couple minutes, highly look at it. It's really inspiring to see what they're doing. If you watch Satya's keynote, he even talked about a Montreal-based company who is using HoloLens and some remote field capabilities for a doctor thousands of miles away to help them perform a delicate surgery. And it's really amazing to see how things like that and this augmented reality and virtual reality capabilities can come to life to solve real health problems. So it's inspiring. There's lots of different case studies as well to sort of get some thoughts going around that. So that's kind of what I had for today. I'm happy if there's any time to answer any questions, or if I'll pass it back to you, Christina, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, David, for making the time for us today and for sharing your wisdom and experience, and above all, your sponsorship, without which much of our success wouldn't be possible. Mark, do we have any time for questions? You're in mute, the famous sentence.
Yes, I believe we can handle a few questions. I see one here from Merab that says, how would you secure IoT devices? And then another question, how do you like working at Microsoft?
I'll take the latter one first. That's the easier one. I'm proud to work at Microsoft. It's really interesting because they really do stand behind their values. It's a really great organization to work with. It was an interesting move when I went from my previous role into Microsoft, where the first thing they told me was that your boss works for you. And that has held true for 20 years. And it's really empowering to, be given the freedom and the ability to sort of make sure that I can do my best work to help our customers. So Microsoft is a fantastic employer, and I can't say highly enough about them. I think it also comes down not just to the employment, but their principles and their values, right? They stand for a lot of things that I believe in personally. The sustainability aspect of it is #1 priority to me and my family. And, we're not perfect by any means, but, at least if we're going in the right direction, right? Using technology for good, to try to give people back more of their human time rather than being in front of a computer all the time, really resonates with me. So I really, really like the values that Microsoft has. So that's how I'd answer that one. And it's interesting because we just had our internal poll, and it's that time of year again where we sort of reflect on that, and that's kind of one of the major questions they ask is, give them feedback on these sort of things. So it's great. In terms of IoT devices, actually the interesting thing is there is already a way for Azure credits to be able to be used for trying these things out. You don't really need a device per se, but at least a virtual environment to support creating a device, and just doing that on even a Raspberry Pi or something like that, or even a virtual machine in the cloud is fine. So there's lots of great samples and documentation on docs.microsoft.com about that. So I'm happy to maybe find a couple of links, Mark. I can pass them back and we can distribute it. But Yeah, that's how I learn. I get myself a Raspberry Pi. I do some coding on a spare laptop or in a virtual machine, and that's how I do my learning. I don't actually buy a lot of physical devices themselves.
There's more questions here, David. One is, I'm gonna guess maybe your answer, but what advancement in IoT are you most excited for?
Ah, very interesting. Did you want to take a guess?
Edge.
No, actually, so Edge is an enablement. I think the
And then
one thing I'd say on
auto was my guess, but
no, so digital twins.
digital
Digital
twins.
twins
Okay.
are really the capability that if you can replicate what the device is in the cloud in a consistent way, then it really allows you to take and merge the power of the cloud with the edge compute. The look of, taking a vehicle or healthcare device and saying, okay, what is, I'll stick with automotive, stick with one. What is the current oil level, battery level, GPS location, all of those attributes that define a vehicle, and replicating that in a virtual vehicle in the cloud. You could then figure out, if there's any problems happening with your vehicle fleets. Is there any safety issues that need to be concerned? Is there any software updates that need to be done? So digital twins are a really interesting way to bridge that edge and compute in the cloud compute environment. So that's what I'm most excited about.
Digital twin, cool. So that's a new one. Okay, awesome answer. Okay. All right. Well, it's one of the challenges we have in the hackathon, but how can data privacy be maintained when IoT comes so close to monitoring every aspect of our personal lives?
Yeah, that's always the give and take that happens as we work through with customers. What we end up talking to them about is making sure that every piece of data that is captured is classified to some level of privacy concern. So an agreement up front as to what is considered PII. Like for example, the vehicle identification number is considered PII, even though you can walk up to the front of a car and find it. But when you can tie it to an individual person at some point, it becomes PII. So how do we take each scenario and identify what is its data classification, and then apply how do you determine should you capture that at all, either in memory or disk, and what do you do with that data, and then how do you manage it if you do persist it according to the California laws, the GDPR rules, those sort of things. So we've really switched from I would say, to a more data-centric model. So everything that comes into the platforms, we would duplicate data aligned to a business case or a business reason so that we can apply our data privacy rules to that specific data case versus, unlock the door or something to that effect as being a service that might share data across other services. So it's switching to a data model and then making sure there's a data classification approach to everything you do in store.
Excellent. A question from Suyash about whether 5G is better than fiber when it comes to powering and IoT devices and implement a smart city concept.
Not yet. The really interesting thing is in the 5G space, really the promises of low latency and speed is really only in a very, very small band of spectrum. And to get that speed and latency, it's a very small radius. So even though you will get 5G, scenarios available in the marketplace like you do today whenever you go into a mobile operator, the speed you'll find is not as fast as what you'd expect, or probably what people have imagined. That's because there just isn't that ubiquitous, very dense 5G spectrum space that needs to get that low latency. To get that low latency, you really need to do private 5G, and then it gets quite costly as well for people to get to that. But large manufacturers inside of rural plants, for example, in the manufacturing space, could absolutely use this to solve some fiber optic issues, but it's not a very large, broad, physical, geographical area problem we can solve yet. That fiber still does a much better job at.
Excellent. I think we still have a couple. Congrats on having an Ignite event in VR. He says,
Yeah.
how might VR change the landscape of healthcare?
Yeah, for sure. So the healthcare, especially if you've may have seen or watched that keynote from Satya there, he talked about the ability for remote healthcare and being able to do that in a very timely space. So if there's a critical healthcare patient that needs help and there needs to be a specialist that is only available thousands of miles away, how can you jointly perform that surgical procedure if necessary and get that patient that help? That is a true real life, right there, connected field services is almost a generic name for it. But how do you help that individual being physically almost as lifelike as possible there without being there is going to be really, really key. And it's very inspiring to see those types of stories. So I keep going back to that one because it's a very solid and realistic scenario that's available today.
Okay, I guess common Mit Kumar and others, just your thoughts about Starlink.
Ah, yes. Well, I know my brother is really looking forward to it. I'm fortunate enough to live in an area that it's faster for me. There's two aspects to that. I really like the ability to provide the more rural areas access to the internet. I think there's huge opportunity there. I think from a personal side, I'm not a huge fan of all these satellites running across the planet. I think that's interesting, especially as an astrophotographer who's really interested in seeing the stars. It actually brings up some interesting ideas on how do you see past all those satellites that are sort of going around the planet. But I think from an opportunity and what it brings to those people, it can only get better, right? It's about providing the necessary technology to make lives easier in the end, and I hope that we'll be able to achieve that through the Starlink initiative they have going.
Well, we got lots of questions still flooding in, so I don't think we'll get to all of them, but so maybe one last one. There seems to be a number of questions regarding sustainability. So maybe sort of your thoughts on sustainability or what Microsoft is doing to reduce e-waste that's maybe a byproduct of the exponential rise of all the IoT. So maybe just your personal thoughts on sustainability, since it also seemed to be important at the company.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're as I mentioned, it's very important to me and my family. We were just even reading an article yesterday that says the average Canadian wastes 59 kilograms of food a year. And we were having a dinner conversation that talks about how are we doing and reflecting on our individual abilities to minimize that. What are we doing to not just jump to recycle, but try to reduce and reuse, right? First is key. So, it's super important to just get down to the basics at the individual level. I think at the company level, it's really empowering that we're leading kind of the conversation and trying to drive some thought leadership, I guess is the best way to put it, to other organizations. Things like how to become carbon neutral. We're planning to do that by 2030, which really isn't that far away, or even carbon negative. How do we, the extra, we may have seen that we did an underwater data center in Northern Ireland, where we actually submerged a big tank of servers underwater so that we could keep it cooled instead of using energy from the grid. So those sort of things are really enlightening to see and really open up amazing conversations with customers as to how can they change their business and what are some of the common goals that they could be learning from Microsoft on. So we're definitely just in the brainstorming phase around that with our customers, but it really has picked up over the past 6 months, I would say, in order to be a key component and almost a key result of all our initiatives is that making sure that anything that is being developed, hardware, software, whatever it takes, that we take sustainability as a key success criteria for it. So definitely an interesting topic there.
All right, I'll pass it back to Christiana. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you, everyone.
Back to Christiana.
Thank you, David, again. Well, so let's move on to the show. So now our next speaker is Manish Dixty. He is a partner of at Thinking North and Tech Gen Z Group. He's also co-founder of Octochain, a distributor ledger blockchain company. He's a visionary business and technology leader with a knack for building success enterprises. For the past 2 decades, he has been involved with innovation and startups. He's passionate about digital revolution, artificial intelligence, and blockchain technology. And today, Manish will share his knowledge in innovation and on how to build a billion-dollar startup step by step. He will also review the challenge sets category winners at the end. So stay tuned. It's over to you, Manish.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, thanks, Christiane, for the intros. Very excited to be here. Let me just share my screen. One sec. Do you see my screen, guys?
Yes, but not the presentation, Manish.
Okay.
You had it earlier, Manish.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Okay.
David, I assume that while we're waiting for Manish, that you can respond to some of the chat questions that were addressed to you. But thanks again.
Here it is. You can see your presentation now.
Oh, do you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Sorry about that. First of all, thanks, David, for really big insights. This is awesome. I'm really excited to be here. David really rightfully laid out like what are the opportunities which we are facing today, and which we are in front of us today. So that's really exciting. Thanks, David, for all that. Really, a concise summary of everything. I'm sure it's going to do a lot of good for all the students and everybody here. So once again, thanks a lot. Starting with my little bit of background here, I'm part of Thinking North and TechGen's innovation group. Thinking North is a Bay Street investors network. What we do is we look at technology companies that are coming out, especially young startups which are coming out, bright ideas, and we want to make sure that we can help them, mentor them, and really make them successful. So that's overall what we do as part of Thinking North and TechGen's team. TechGen's is a incubator. Thinking North is a network of investors. So together, we have ability to fund a lot of or raise a lot of capital for all the startups that are out there and coming and in innovation and really coming up with some disruptive ideas. So that's us. A little bit of background on myself. I studied computer science from California State University and got an opportunity to work in Silicon Valley for 6 to 8 years. I worked at a company called Wind River, which was a leader back then, or still is, in IoT space. And this is, I'm talking early 90s and mid 2000s. Eventually got acquired by Intel. So part of my learning early on was really working with RTOS, VxWorks, and really building these systems for NASA's Pathfinder missions. So that's where I got really excited, and I was fortunate to be part of that whole ecosystem. After spending a lot of years there, being part of the startups, moved to Canada and in Toronto, really excited to be here. From hot weather to cold weather. I missed that, but here we are. But I just want to talk about a few things here and then what it is and what brings some context as to what we have in GTA and Waterloo. So I feel that something which I witnessed 20 years back in Valley is what is happening today in GTA and Waterloo area. And I feel that it is one of those top 10 areas to be in. So for all of you guys, everybody who is here, one should really recognize that you're at one of those top 10 startup places in the world. So that's a very unique opportunity that we have to acknowledge. So, well, one of the reasons why I feel that this has sort of started to become like a Silicon Valley in its own way, and a lot of people are also calling it Silicon Valley North, because of the fact that it's backed up by a lot of good universities. Seneca College, again, being one of the leaders in this group, Waterloo, University of Waterloo, University of Toronto, and so forth. So I feel we are at a very unique place. We've also been building an ecosystem in the last 10, 15 years of the funders, the government grants and so forth. So, and a lot of students coming from all across the world. So with that combination of infrastructure, universities, a lot of immigrants coming in, from all parts of the world trying to come together to solve some big problems. I feel that GTA and this Waterloo corridor is very, very nicely placed for exceptional growth going forward. So that's that. I hope everybody recognizes that we're now in a good spot. Next one, I want to talk about a little bit about digital revolution or transformation, which David mentioned. And then, yes, we are in digital transformation 2.0. Something which industries and everybody were planning 5 years down the line is happening today now because of the pandemic that pushed everybody to the edge. And now, we're all sitting, working from home. We've got extra time. And, now we need to adapt. So this digital revolution, I feel, is just the beginning of what could happen next 5 to 10 years.
Manish, maybe advance your slide. Your slide isn't advanced, Manish. I think you intended to advance it. It's sorry to interrupt.
No, I still am here because next slide is this guy. So yeah. So digital revolution or transformation, as I was mentioning, we're just, this pandemic has just pushed us. So, a lot of good stuff is happening. A lot of opportunities have come up, and David nicely summarized them. So I don't need to go through it again, but really a lot of good opportunities out there for all the people who are wanting to, really disrupt the businesses, technology, and so forth. I mean, we've seen, like, just to give you an example, we're now witnessing the online learning going into the next phase when we have students from, say, India or Russia, like even in our hackathon, students from all over the world are plugging in. So that's like a true revolution too. We're witnessing it as we speak, of this digital revolution. So that's exciting to see. Next one, I want to talk about a little bit how technology is being the catalyst. With this all pandemic happening, I think what it is technology is just creating that extra catalyst that could actually help us recover from this pandemic. So again, technology is being a good catalyst. A lot of tech companies are growing. They're getting a lot of people are getting funding. Governments are also active. So technology is a good catalyst overall for all the businesses. The other thing I want to touch upon a little bit is the youth, which is exciting to see all this youth coming in together in GTA, and they're excited, especially Seneca College. We're all excited to see how they're finishing their degrees and they're now going into the workforce. They're creative, they're young, they're energetic. So these are the two good pillars, technology and youth together, that could really help Canada move forward. So just want to point out that. Another thing is, thinking about startup as a career. So a lot of people, a lot of students come here, they want to just graduate and possibly get a job, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. But I feel that today, startup could be considered as a full career, because now there's ecosystem available, there's people available, there's funding available. So why not consider startup as a career? If that's what drives you, then do consider startup as a career. So I highly recommend. It's very rewarding. It's got its own pains, ups and downs, but eventually I feel it's very rewarding. And last but not least, I just want to talk about and just acknowledge what David already pointed out, is we are in this wave, and everybody has to recognize and accept the fact that we are in this wave. This is opportunity, and let's make a best use of it. So again, digital transformation 2.0, lots of opportunity. Everywhere you look, you will see lots of opportunity around you. And make sure you keep your eyes and ear open. Something excites you, then let's build a startup. That's what our mission is. With that, I just want to go down to, like, how do you go to the nitty-gritties of building your startup? So I just want to point out some steps to build your billion-dollar startup. And a lot of people already know this, but I think it could be exciting for all the people, especially who are participating in Hackathon, to understand this process. And so I just want to run it through you. So step one is the ideation. So look around you. There's lots of opportunity when you go out in anywhere, malls, hospitals. Like David was mentioning his own experiences. So you gotta think beyond. Look hard. You'll see lots of opportunities around you. So come up with a bright idea. Once in a while you'll have your aha moment, and just write it down, and then do some research on that, see what's out there, and then build your idea. Step two is to really, once you have an idea, write up maybe a one-pager. Then you want to do idea validation. What it is a process where you could talk to some mentors and make sure your idea is valid. Check the value of your idea. Can you make money? Can you make money out of that idea? All that. After that, you want to build your team, because if you've got a bright idea, I don't think you're going to do it alone. You want to have at least a team member of 2-3 members, and you want to make sure that you have the same belief levels, because if you believe in an idea and your team members don't, that's going to bring you down. So make sure you find people. It's a hard process, but make sure you find people who have a same belief system. and possibly complementary skills, because you don't want say a 3-people team having only the coding skills and no marketing, no business skills. So you want to find your teammates in such a way so that they're complementary skills. So build your team. Next step, leverage your ecosystem. So good news is, now we have a very good ecosystem, and like I said, in Toronto Waterloo corridor, you want to find your advisors and mentors, and you want to make sure that you keep on asking them questions. Sometimes you don't know how to move forward, and that's the time you can just sit with your advisor, and they'll point you in the right direction. So make sure you leverage the ecosystem. Universities, colleges, professors, all are very, very good resources. Then you want to look at customer feedback. You want to talk to your potential customers and make sure that they can validate and endorse your idea, and make sure that you ask them a question that, okay, if you build your idea, are they willing to pay for that particular solution? So you want to talk to your customers early on. Once you've got all these 5 steps, then you want to work on MVP, or a minimum viable product. Build a prototype, build a proof of concept. Even if it's very basic, some screens, maybe some quick implementations done, so that you could actually show that to some people and potential investors and funders. So yeah, build a prototype or an MVP. While you're doing that, you want to also start a fundraising process. So today there are a lot of good resources available in terms of fundraising. Like I said, there's an ecosystem there to help everybody. You can look at government grants, NSERC, MyTax, and there are a bunch of others who are really, so I appreciate the Canadian government has come up in a good way, and they're really helping young startups find some money so that they could put together a proof of concept and so forth. So look for government grants. There's research and R&D grants available. Seed funders, once you have your prototype or MVP done, you can start a conversation with seed funders. There will be people who would want to put, and they believe in your idea. Incubators are another good resources. They're very well connected in the industry. So you want to maybe apply to some incubators. Most universities have their local incubators, like DMZ and Velocity in Waterloo. And then there's industry incubators, like TechGens is another incubator that you could plug into. And we will provide all the mentorship. Angel Network, VCs, always keep pitching your ideas. Don't stop, because it's a continuous process. Every stage you want to just keep pitching your idea. Also, you want to look at what is the intellectual property that you may bring into the market. Look into patenting some of it, and if you can put a patent into your whatever your unique idea is, that's very, very valuable. And next one is, once you got some funding, maybe seed funding, you want to pilot in a closed community. So you want to finish building your product up to a certain level, and you want to pilot in some closed community just to see how this overall experience of your product is. You want to go on to, then once you get the feedback from the pilot community, you want to go on to improvements, fix bugs, refine your product further, and eventually go for a beta launch. This is step 9 is a really big step, because once you can claim and prove that, okay, you're at a beta level, that's very, very exciting for your product journey. And obviously you could come up to version 1 release, continue building your customers, maybe offer some freemium models, so that there's no entry to, easy entry into your product. And then at that point, once you have some customers, some revenue coming in, you could really tap into a big funding pool, which is available from VCs for scaling. So that's pretty much what your journey looks like. You know, I've been going through myself the same journey. That's why it's exciting to share all these experiences that I could share with you guys. I hope that you'll find it exciting. And last thing is, I just want to close it. You know, while you're building all this, just have fun. You know, because it's not about success or failure. It's about enjoying the journey. So, you know, just make sure you got the right team and just enjoy your journey. So with that, that's all I have for the presentation. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, Manisha. Now you can do the honors and tell us the challenge set winners. We are so excited for hearing.
Do you see this one?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, all right, perfect. So with that, I'm really excited to announce the winner and runner-up of this hackathon contest. And before I do that, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who participated, especially all the sponsors who came together. I know a lot of industry sponsors are very busy, but they took time to come together. They mentored a lot of challenge sets all across. So thank you, everyone, especially industry partners. After that is obviously the Seneca College team. And you know, the team is really exciting. I had a pleasure to work with you, with every one of you. Last 6-8 months we've been at it. We're working on some projects. We did a hackathon in summer in COVID, and that was successful. We had a lot of learnings, and we try to improvise in this hackathon. So this hackathon, we're very excited. I think we've got a much more formal way of doing things. You know, we got 600 plus participants. So yeah, thanks everyone. Lots of heads up to Mark, because it was his Mark Buckner, professor. It's his brainchild, and you know, really appreciate your efforts to bring everybody together. So thanks a lot to all entire Seneca team. And with that, now I have some announcements to make. So starting with challenge set number 1, cannabis product life cycle. The winner is, let me just, okay, the winner is Night Wolf. Digital health vaccination passport. Winner is Vassport. Problem gambling, addiction video games. Winner is Team 8. Hospital HR system. Winner is Team Innovators. Non-invasive elder care. The winner is EGG. Patient data consent system. Winner is AREN. ALS, data science and research, rare disease. Winner is rock, scissors, paperless. And the last, telemedicine. Winner is ambitious. Thank you, everyone, and good luck going forward. Hopefully, we'll see some good winners by the end of this session. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all the challenge set category winners, and we are so proud of you guys. Worked very hard. Great job, guys. And Manish, thank you for your words, for your time, your commitment in coaching all of our teams, and I'm sure everybody here learned a lot with you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well then, so move on. We have now a special speaker. And he has years of experience in facilitating partnership between industry and academic institution to facilitate innovation. It is my great pleasure to introduce Ben Rogers, the Seneca College Dean of Innovation. It's over to you, Ben.
Thank you very much. And also I'd like to congratulate again all the Challenge Set winners. I was judging the final winners, so I had the pleasure of seeing all of them, all the winners of the Challenge Sets today. And I have to say I was blown away by some of the responses and the outcomes that the teams have put together today. And I know I'm in between you hearing who the final winner is, so I will keep my remarks as concise as possible. But I'd just like to share a few words with you. I'll just share my screen here. Hopefully you can see my screen. So I just want to share a few words about innovation and how we see innovation at Seneca. The department I lead is called Seneca Innovation. And Seneca, some time ago, came up with a definition of what Seneca means to us. And really, it's about trying something new. It's about trying a new or enhanced service or business process. It's about trying something big or small that will help change things for the better. And the key verb that you see 3 times in this is try. And that is what's a really, really important differentiator about what innovation actually is. So innovation is a process, and it's a process that you all went through this week. It's about coming up with an idea, but then not just coming up with that idea and creating it, but turning it into something useful, something that's beneficial, that can actually make a difference in the world. And innovation happens in all kinds of different areas. It's not just developing an app or a software application. That is certainly a type of innovation, but there's also developing new vaccines as an example, or even things that may seem mundane, like organizational changes or communications tools. But innovation is all around us. So Seneca Innovation has a mandate of fostering a culture of innovation at Seneca for our students, faculty, staff, and community, and was launched in the pandemic in April. But it combines several areas of focus of Seneca for some time, including applied research, entrepreneurship through Seneca Helix, and we have our own innovation programs for Seneca employees as well. This is our team. We only have 10 people that do all this at Seneca, and these are great people, and I hope you have an opportunity to meet us and work with us. And I know that you heard from Chad earlier in the week on Tuesday, and he spoke in a little bit more detail about applied research. But applied research it's a methodology to solve a specific problem for industry and requires an innovative mindset, but it engages students and faculty to solve challenges for industry, and it's a type of innovation. So for students, and I'll say that, this isn't just for Seneca students. Every college in Ontario has an applied research program that you can get involved in. And we work with industry regionally and across Ontario to work on projects. So for students, applied research provides an opportunity to get real work experience in your program of study, and you can get paid for doing it. It also provides an opportunity to meet employers, learn about research in industry, and also work with your faculty and your professors in a different way on a unique project. For industry, they work with us because they can access, companies can access our experienced researchers, equipment, and space, and solve real challenges while also getting funding from the government to support that. One of the biggest wins, though, for industry is that they get to meet new people. They get to meet students and potentially recruit them as new employees or interns at their organizations. Chad covered this earlier in the week, but I just wanted to show at Seneca we do have focus areas for applied research. The biggest area is in software, data science, and AI, but we also do a lot of research in design, healthcare, and social innovation, as well as biotechnology. And digital health really covers 2 of these big areas. It's healthcare and data science together. I just wanted to give a couple of examples of projects that we've been working on and that we're working on right now. So one of them is with a company called Just Vertical. And Just Vertical is a U of T spinoff company. And they produce this device you see in the background there, which is an indoor hydroponic system for growing edible plants at home. And the challenge they face was that some consumers are concerned that they wouldn't get the same nutritional qualities and yield from plants grown indoors as they would outdoors or by a commercial manufacturer or a commercial grower. So we help them by using our precision analytical technologies, our chemical equipment, to test the plants that they were growing in different conditions, using different types of nutrients and different light recipes, et cetera, and provide them a really good, a solid data set they could provide to their customers to really demonstrate that their products are just as good as something that you buy at a grocery store. Another company we're working with is called CyberWorks Robotics, and what they do is they produce automated autonomous vehicle technology, and it's actually a retrofit kind of approach to it. So they work with small vehicles, like think of a ride-on lawnmower or a cleaning device like the one pictured here. Perhaps it's even a wheelchair. And what they asked us to do is help them to build an interface between their module and this particular type of cleaning machine, which is used worldwide. So we developed that in collaboration with the company. So that's applied research. The other arm of Seneca Innovation is Seneca Helix, which you may have heard about, but what it is, it's an on-campus incubator. In normal times, we actually have space where students and other community members can work there. But it's about building an entrepreneurial mindset and helping people to build a venture and really make it successful and sustainable. So it is a type of innovation. And there are two kind of areas within Helix. So first, people come in and they're expected to go through a series of 4 workshops, ideation, business model, et cetera, and then produce a pitch about their concept. Once they pitch their concept, then they can access the services that we provide. So incubator space, again, in normal times, coaching and mentorship, and also funding connections. Helix also offers a program called Career Recharge. And this is a program designed to help you advance your career, and look at future technologies, and understand workforce changes. It's a really great program. It's free. It runs every 2 weeks on Tuesday nights. You can actually just Google Seneca Career Recharge, and next week we have our first in our inclusivity series. It's a talk about women in leadership the day after International Women's Day. Finally, the other program that Helix offers is a hackathon, just like the one you've been through this week. The Helix Summer Institute provides real solutions to business problems faced by hospitals. Last year, South Lake Hospital and other hospitals in the past. This runs every August, and it's open for participants. Sorry, just the last slide here, I think. Just some details where you can find information about us. Check out our website, senecacollege.ca/innovation. Follow us on Twitter, Seneca Innov. And you'll have to Google Career Recharge, but it's easy to find. Lots of information there. And that's actually the end of my presentation. So I know you're all waiting now to hear who the winners are. So I'll hand it back over to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. It's always very nice to have you in our hackathon. Thank you for your continued support for making this event possible. Thanks. Well, now, before we announce the winners, or actually Josh will announce the winners, I want to say some special thanks for one person, actually 2. Well, and the thanks goes to Barry Neymark and Jennifer Weep from Seneca Alumni, who have been our hackathon supporters since the beginning. They've been so generous with their time and resources to help us creating a more meaningful experience during the last hackathon and again in this hackathon. Thank you so much, Barry and Jennifer. And my last thank you for today is thank you from myself, from my professor, Hubert Rao, that helped me to hone all the words that I spoke to you today, guys. Thank you. And now the show will continue with Josh. It's over to you, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you, Christiane. Let me share my slides here. Does that look all right? Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been through hell and back. There's so many ups and a lot of downs. For every challenge, we looked for a solution together. I can say that I've never worked so hard during a reading week in my entire life. This was such a special experience for me, and I hope it was for you too. Throughout the event, I really felt the passion people had for their work and the love people had for each other. And even during a pandemic, we found ways to connect with each other virtually. Our humanity is undeniable. I would like to personally thank each and every sponsor that has helped this event to be the success it is today. Microsoft, Salesforce, Markham Stouffville Hospital, CAMH, Thinking North, iVita, Roche Data Science, Sightline Innovation, Octochain, Capital Blockchain, TechGens, MD Canada, Canalog, CanBud, and CanGrowRich. Thank you. I would also like to thank each and every student that participated. We loved to interact with you and to see you and your solutions grow over these past few days. We're so proud of you, and we have no doubt that your future is bright. Lastly, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to dedicate this moment to our Professor Isaac Sethian, who has recently passed. I was a student that never did anything outside of what was required, and he has inspired me to do more. Rest in peace. We miss you. And now it is with great pleasure and privilege to present to you the finalists of the Seneca Digital Health Hackathon. In second place, winning close to $1,000, the runner-up prize at the Seneca Digital Health Hackathon goes to Team Vassport. Congratulations. And of course, we've saved the best for last. The winner of the grand prize will take home a nifty sum of $3,000. And the winner of the grand prize for Best in Show at the Seneca Digital Health Hackathon is Team 8. Congratulations. My congratulations to the winners. You truly deserve it. The organization committee will reach out to you to claim your prizes, or for you to claim your prizes, and your winner micro-credentials. And for those participants that successfully made submissions, we will send instructions on how to claim your participant micro-credentials. That's it from us, the organizers of the Seneca Digital Health Hackathon. Thank you at home for being with us, and we'll see you at the next hackathon. Stay in touch and take care.